And I remember in 2011 going to the US Open and the Pro Junior final having John John Florence, Connor Coffin, Kolohe Andino, and this kid that no one knew, Filipe Toledo. He had awesome painted boards.
Yep.
And he smoked everybody. Tell me the story of that week when you beat everybody.
It was interesting because I was at that time I was sponsored by Billabong, and then I had like 6 months with no sticker on the nose of my board, and we're having conversations with different sponsors, and we ended up signing up with Nike at the time. So what I did, I was like, because from Ubatuba to Sao Paulo is like 4-hour drive. So like we drove 4 hours, got in Sao Paulo on Friday. We signed a contract. On Saturday, I was flying to California, for the US Open. My first time ever in California. So I got there and I was meeting all these people from Nike, like big bosses and, like athletes. I remember it was actually the first time I met Laura Never, Carissa Moore, Julian Wilson, Nat Young, all these guys. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, man. It's right here's the big deal. And I got the wild card for the junior and for the pro as well. And I could barely speak English at that time. Just hi, I want a coffee, cheeseburger, and Coca-Cola. That's it.
Essentials.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. So yeah, I got there. I was staying with Scooby and Alejo, and it was my first heat. So nervous, new sponsor, all the bosses were over there. At that time was sponsored by Nike, the event. First heat, I served kind of well, and then, by the end I was needing a score with, 30 seconds. I took off in a wave and just went for a big air, backhand air, and landed, got the score. Everyone was like, oh, that's cool. And then since that first heat, till I got to the semifinal, every time I turned the heat with like a minute, 30 seconds, 45 seconds in the end, like it was just so excited every time, the heat. And then I got in the final with, the three big names of, North America, Kolohe, John, and Connor. And at that time, like I knew those guys. I know like, oh, that's Kolohe, that's, John and Connor, but it was not something that I was like, oh my God, like Mick Fanning, like, Andy Irons, it was not something really huge for me. I was like, okay, yeah, I know they're really good.
You could beat them, yeah.
Yeah, I know, they're pretty big names, but I mean, I got this, I was really excited, and Kolohe started really well, I think, and then John got a wave, and I got one on the inside, threw like a big air and landed, and on the way back, I got another insider, that gave me the same ramp, another big air, and got a pair of sevens, I think. And the best part of it was like when I was in the podium, I got the trophy, and I remember the time, I think it was Dave. I think he was doing
Dave Stanfield.
Yes.
Yep.
And he asked me, now I know what he asked me, he was like, oh yeah, can you tell us about like, how was your travel? How was your journey to get here? Like, how's your week? Like how's the new sponsor, and how's, like to beat all these guys in the final. And as I said, I could barely speak English. I didn't even understand a word he asked me. And I was like, I had a phrase already in my mind, what I was going to say. I was like, thank you so much for everyone. I'm super stoked. And what did I say? And then I was like, thank my sponsors and thank you, my family. That was it. And everyone's laughing so hard. I was like, well, okay. I didn't even understand what was going on. But, that was probably the main event, for me to show up in the international media.
I mean, do you look back and think that week like transformed your entire life in a lot of ways?
For sure, yeah. First time I actually did an interview in English.
It's funny you say that. I mean, I don't really know of any instance where say it was reversed and John or Kolohe or Connor went to Sao Paulo and won. They wouldn't ask them the question in Portuguese.
Yeah.
But it's different, right?
It's, it's English, it's global language, and, everyone's got to speak English.
Yeah,
We're going to try to change that, since we're Maduri on tour right now,